Two, one. Hey guys, welcome to Hot Pot Podcast. I'm joined today by Dr. Vishal Bika from South Africa in Johannesburg. We're going to talk a bit of mindfulness. We're going to talk a bit of life. We're going to talk a bit of dentistry. Probably not very much dentistry actually, but how are you doing today, man?
Hi, Dr. Kazi. It's wonderful to be on this platform, and I must say, you're doing some really great work
Thank
out
you.
there, empowering the dental community and the profession at large. So, yeah, I'm grateful to be here and grateful to share my
Experience.
my experience on mindfulness and yeah, my knowledge on mindfulness in dentistry specifically.
Yeah, I think it's important, with the year that's been gone by, everything that's happened, of course, everyone knows. Um, there's been trouble in the UK. There's a couple of guys, unfortunately, who took their own lives from uh stress and other related factors. And it's a big deal in dentistry. We always get told when a patient walks in the door, oh, isn't it the most stressful job in the world, and why do you like teeth, and all this kind of thing. So I think it's
Yeah.
important to get out of that and have some form of
Yeah.
fixing the way your
Ab-
mind
ab-
works.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, as you mentioned, yeah, look, COVID hit the dental profession quite hard, I
Mm,
think, We always think that no, the medical guys, won't be affected. Dentists are making enough money. But the scary scene is that dentists, especially in a private setting, were really affected. And even in South Africa, the association had to put so many protocols and put out so much help there, to be there for the dentists. Some dentists had to face, closure of their
yeah.
practices. Many of them ended up in bad states. So, um, COVID-19 has really taken a toll on dentists and their families and also their mental
Yeah,
health.
yeah.
You know, it's, uh,
I think with that in mind, my first question to you is, how are you really doing?
so I actually am. I'm actually quite fortunate because I was up until March. That is when the initial stages of COVID-19 took place in South Africa. We were put down into an initial lockdown in the end of March. At that time, I was still working for a private practitioner. I was a
Yeah.
locum dentist. Things were going fine. Then the lockdown hit. We had to close the practice for some time. So I was with no income, with no job for about 1.5 months. And then I was offered a post in the state hospital. And in South Africa, to get a position in a state hospital, it's quite a difficult thing. It's quite rare to come about. So I was quite fortunate. And I've got a keen interest in maxillofacial and oral
Yeah.
surgery. So that is the goal one day. So being in a state hospital, I'm exposed to a lot of trauma, a lot of oral surgery. So it's good exposure for me, and I'm getting very good experience. So I can say that look, I'm getting the best of both. I've seen the private world. I've worked in the private world for some good few years. Now and then, even if my former boss needs me to come and assist her with some of the surgical aspects in her private practice, I'm always willing and open to go and help
Yeah.
her. And yes, I'm getting the best of both. And I'm seeing, the difference in socioeconomic levels in South Africa, different kinds of people that you come across, the different kind of work that, the different expectations that come across from the different patients.
Yeah, I think that's something that I touched upon, socioeconomics, with one of the guests previously, and we actually talked in a slightly different manner. We talked about who gets into dentistry as a
Mm.
profession, and that's a whole other conversation. But what you're talking about is very interesting as well, because do you see a very different demographic of patients, obviously from the private where you were working previously, to the guys who are now coming into the government hospital, and what is the kind of cases you're seeing, which are, so broadly speaking, because we don't want to go into too specifics, we're here to talk
Yeah.
broadly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, definitely, it's a very different
Mm,
scene. It's different. So in your private setting, those patients are more privileged. Many of them have medical aids, personal medical aids, or even if they are cash patients, they are more
mm,
well-to-do. They are at a comfortable level, they can afford treatment. And let's even just look at basic treatment, like they can afford your fillings, your scale and polishes, your cleanings, your routine checkups. That's very affordable for them. Now if you compare that to a state hospital, um, often there's lack of resources. We can just do the bare
Yeah.
minimum type of treatment. Many of those patients, they can't even afford a filling, or if your hospital doesn't offer services like restorations or fillings, the only option is to consider an extraction of a carious tooth.
Mm.
And now it's even become a bit more difficult because with COVID-19
Fewer
regulations,
people in the door.
in and yeah, actually, it's not about fewer people in the door, but we are more restricted on the procedures that we're allowed
Okay.
to do. Like your aerosol generating procedures, we're not allowed to do cleanings. We're not yet allowed to do any fillings. So people are left with the option of extracting teeth. Whereby there's emergency treatment. Yes, we do offer that, but that's basically the basic difference of a private setting versus a
Yeah,
government
there's more. Is there red
institution.
tape? Is it one of those issues where somebody
Yeah.
upstairs is writing all the regs and you kind of have to follow along with it, which I suppose is there for a reason. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and look the with the lack of resources and the high patient volumes that come through, it's difficult to give that perfect treatment options to your
Mm.
patients. I'm not saying that we treat them in an
No.
inferior way. We offer ideal treatment, but the best treatment, your ideal treatment planning, that is a bit compromised with your general public that come
Yeah.
through.
How has your mindset been, or how's your well-being been affected by going from a situation in private where you can give the best you've got to give, whatever your level of clinical ability is, you giving 100% to each patient. Now you're going into a situation, and this is something I've very much struggled with the NHS, knowing
Yeah.
that, well, actually, if I didn't have a target and I didn't have limitations and there wasn't costs involved, I would have said to this patient, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that. And instead, you're giving the
Yeah.
compromise. Does that affect you mentally?
So see, this is what I said to myself, because I questioned myself about this. I'm coming from a private setting where, you know, um, patients there in a private setting need to be pampered. You treat
Yeah.
them, with a lot of more care. You are much more gentle. And when I went into the state setting, I said to myself, you know what? Whatever comes my way, I'm going to treat my patients. I'm going to look at my patients the way I see them as a
Yeah.
private patient. I'm not going to see them any different because I'm now in a state hospital. I have lack of resources. I said I'm still going to treat them with that dignity that they need. I'm still going to give them utmost care. Sometimes the language barrier is a little bit of a problem
Mm,
because my home language is English, and whether you get some the people that come to the state clinics, they speak their individual
right.
vernacular. So yeah, so sometimes the language barrier can be a bit of an issue, but our assistants can translate for us. But the care that I give them, is the same as my mindset towards treating them is same as a private patient. I treat them with dignity, treat them with respect, with with all the ethics that need
Yeah,
to
I was
go
more talking
into
about like
treating a
materials,
patient.
well,
Yeah,
actually, an implant would be best here, then you can refer for that if the patient's got the money
yeah,
for it. But or root canal, people can't afford root canals, and if the
yeah.
hospital you're working in
That,
doesn't allow you to do
mm,
those for free or for whatever discounted rate, and you're saying, well, actually now, if it was my mother's tooth, I'd probably give her a root canal and a crown, but unfortunately you can't afford it
mm,
and we can't do anything here. That's kind of where I was getting at,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
doubt there's a dentist out there that goes in and goes, I like this guy because he's got a fat wallet. This other guy,
yeah.
I could do without because what he can't pay for anything. I don't think that happens.
Mhm.
I think you treat each
I
person the same.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely exactly what you say. We try and, because look, at the end of the day, as a dentist, our aim is there to to promote the best oral health that we can. Whatever is the best interest of the patient. that's our mindset. That's what we're thinking
Mm.
about. So in terms of material, if you are restricted, we give the patient the option, saying that if you can save some of your funds, if you are working, if you can save some of your funds towards a certain type of treatment, and if you can do it in a private setting, then that's an option for you. Or the other option is, we give them A, B, or C.
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
your options, but sometimes it's very difficult for these patients. Some of them don't even have any employment. They've got no jobs. They're sitting at
Mm.
home doing nothing. If they come to the dentist, there's no money. If I can even go down to the extent saying that sometimes some of these patients that we see, if they can't even afford a loaf of bread,
Yeah.
how
That's
are
the
they
thing. That's
going
the
to
problem.
even afford a toothbrush and toothpaste, the bare essentials that you need? And now to try and offer them the ideal treatment. Wherever we can help them to the best of our ability, we will help them. Um, they look in the clinic that I am in the state. We are fortunate that we can offer your basic fillings. We can offer emergency extirpations and things like that. If surgical extractions of wisdoms need to be carried out, we can offer that. But look, things like your fixed prosthodontics, crowns, bridges, that is something that we can't offer. And we're very lucky of recently, our district government has set aside a budget where we can make dentures for
Yeah.
patients, So there is an application form for, your elderly patients. So they will apply, and then, yeah, we can carry out and make dentures for them. So that's nice to see,
Yeah, it's good.
bring a
It's good.
smile to somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Should we talk a little bit about the headline? So the
Yes,
mental health
definitely.
and the mindfulness. Where did you get into all of these situations? And you're obviously speaking about it, and you have some bits to tell us, I'm sure. Where did it start for you?
Yes. Okay, so let me go back quite a good few years. So I would say probably when I was about 18 years of
Yeah.
age, I was introduced into mindful living, into meditation, into and uh, attaining high level of consciousness through meditation, through mindfulness practicing, working on exercises, working on, trying to make your body a better place for you to stay in. So I would say since that young age of about 18 years of old, I was introduced to these techniques, and it has become part of my life. And then furthermore, so it's part of my life, and I always felt that, how can I, if it's helping me, if something is helping me, I was gifted with this beautiful gift of mindfulness. I was taught these wonderful techniques. How can I give back to people around me?
Yeah.
And then furthermore, um, I am currently the president of the Young Dentists Council, which is under the ban of the South African Dental Association in South Africa. So I deal a lot with young individuals, young professionals, a lot of your university students. Even last night we had a talk with the community service dentists. I don't know if you guys also use the term community service. That's the year that, so once you do your 5 years of training at the
Yeah,
university,
foundation, yeah.
you go and you go and work 1 year for the state. And you earning a salary, but you still working for the state. And after that 1 year, which is a compulsory year, you allowed to go and practice as an independent private
Mm.
practitioner. So I also work a lot with them. They also have their own issues, their own stresses, because there's the stress of, in the following year, what am I going to do? Where will I find a
Mm.
job? Or it's the matter of paying back student loans, things like that. So I work a lot with young people, and I discovered that there's a common aspect amongst these young students, and that's the aspect of stress. That stress doesn't leave you. There's always some constant worry. And that's when I decided that, what, I've been taught these areas of mental health, mindfulness, how to make your mind strong, how to achieve your goals. And I'm working with a bunch of young professionals that are constantly stressed. And how I thought to merge these two. So that idea came about of merging these two. And I went online, I did a bit of my own research, my checking up, and I was so amazed that out there, there's research, because we are scientific people as medical professionals. We always look towards towards like research,
Yeah.
scientific research. And there was so much scientific research conducted on mindfulness and dentistry, mindfulness in medicine, mindfulness in in psychiatry, and the results in a lot of the cases were positive results. So therefore I thought to myself, you know what, let's take this one step forward. And then look, COVID hit. So I already started working on a program, I think about 2 years ago. And when COVID hit, then you know what, a lot of the dentists, the young professionals were also affected. Mentally it takes a toll on
Mm.
you. And I decided during the lockdown, I had some sessions, what it was called the mindful dentist. And we did some exercises, we did some talks, and some basic relaxation exercises that that help calm the mind, that help you focus, that help you create a sense of awareness. So that's how it all started, basically in a nutshell. And the aim now is just to to build on that, because it's an area where you don't ever learn about these things
What
in
what is
university.
actual? Because I think we talked a little bit about the journey, but we haven't really touched on what mindfulness is, what it's defined by, how you might know if you need it or anything like that. So how would you define that mindfulness?
So mindfulness, it's a term I'm sure you'll see a lot of people out there see that, it's thrown
Mm.
everywhere. And when one hears the term mindfulness, they think, oh, it's got to do with, it's got to do with yoga, it's got to do with lighting candles, or
Yeah.
aromatherapy. But you know what, it's it's not really that. There's deeper essence behind mindfulness. And if I give you a one word, a simple definition of mindfulness, and that is awareness. Awareness is the basic definition of the
Yeah,
term mindfulness.
because
And yeah, and that is because we need to be in a state of knowingness, which is awareness of our thoughts, and awareness of our actions, awareness of our conduct, awareness of our behavior. So basically, that is in a nutshell what encompasses
mm,
mindfulness.
yeah, because if you think about the opposite, it's you acting mindlessly. And then I think you maybe
Yes,
understand it a bit better,
exactly.
because mindfulness, it sounds very impressive and nobody
Uh-huh.
really knows what you're talking about, and it sounds like you're just a lot of full of hot air or something, and you're trying to give an impression off of a guy that just everything goes fine no matter what I do, or whatever it is. But if you say
Yeah,
actually
definitely.
all you're trying to do is not be mindless, so
Yeah,
mindlessly doing things.
because when you're mindless, your thoughts are all scattered, or your thoughts are you have mixed emotions. You're not focused on doing one thing. Your mind is all over the place. And that's what these exercises of mindfulness exercises, they help with, is focusing. And once you focus on one thing, you're able to do it
Mm,
better, and you're able to do everything else better. And it's so funny, because even some of the research that we look at, mindfulness, that has it, when you practice mindfulness, and also sometimes, a lot of times, people empower mindfulness to their patients, it gives you a positive outcome with patient results, with patient treatment. So if I give you, and you brought out that factor of mindlessness. If I were to those people that are watching today, if I give you an analogy, um, of what mindfulness is, what mental health, that type of thing. If I take a smartphone, or even any computer that I'm busy working with, and if I open up so many tabs, I'll open up this tab, and I'll open up that tab, and then at the end of the day, we have so many tabs
mm,
open, you know, and then eventually that affects the performance of our smartphone. Our smartphone becomes slow, our laptop becomes sluggish, our RAM is overloaded with, a whole lot of, temporary memory, and, it affects your function. In the same way, that's like our mind, we have too many things. We're thinking of this and thinking of that, and our emotion is laying on this side, and we're thinking of, while we're busy with a patient, we're thinking of tonight's dinner and things like that. So that affects us in the long run, because then as we create so many impressions and over a long period of time, that's going to affect us. And it's not just only thinking about this and that, it's the stress on top of
Yeah.
that, because it's causing stress to our body. And that's where, mindfulness is very important.
Yeah, I spoke to one of the guys last week, and we talked about, um, I think it was like meditation or something like this. And people talk about having the clear mind. And
Yeah.
before, what I brought up was I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast that I'd listened to, and he said actually, well, he tried to do it for a couple of months, and actually, as soon as he sat down in the quietened room with the lights down a little bit, all these thoughts came rushing into his head. But this is all the open tabs. This is how, from your analogy, this is all the
Yes,
open tabs. This is all
absolutely.
the unresolved feelings, the unresolved, the things that you've just shoved away and didn't deal with. And until you've done that, you can't get through to the other side where there's now nothing popping up at you. And part of that, being in the moment and
Yeah.
mindful of what you're doing, allows you to deal with what's happening immediately and not have it follow you
Yeah.
around like a dark cloud for the rest of your life, or however long until you decide you're going to address it. And I think this is really important, because I'm sure everyone here can, or who's watching, or yourself even, will know of someone or have been in the situation where you're going through the motions and you're not
Yeah.
thinking about what you're doing. It's
Absolutely.
just, okay, yeah, I'm going through and and then you suddenly you're 12 months down the line, or 3 years is gone, and everything's the same.
Absolutely. Look, Dr. Kazi, when I was in first year of dentistry, and we had a subject called community dentistry. That deals with epidemiology, in a community setting. And in our first lecture, the lecturer came to. She stood in the front of the class, and she says, "Guys, what is
Yeah.
health?" you know and she asks, who wants to take a shot at it. Somebody says, no, you have to be good, your physical health. Somebody said, emotionally. And then she said, I'm going to give you the definition by the World Health Organization on what is health. And I'm going to read
Yeah,
that
go
because
for
I've
it.
got it here on my side. And the definition of health by the World Health Organization is that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or
Mm,
infirmity. You know, and and we always, since first year till final year of dentistry, and even maybe till even your private practice, we are taught to empower health to our patients. We have to give them ideal treatment. We need to give them best treatment. We need to extract that carious tooth, or we need to do a root canal or remove that abscess, and we're there to empower health to our
yeah.
patients. But then we often forget that, look, we also form part of that definition, that I also have to look at this body that also has health. I'm a dentist. I also can suffer from mental strain. I also need to worry about my social well-being. So I think not only a dentist, but I think many medical practitioners in general forget that that definition applies to themselves as well, and not a definition that you are taught for your patients only.
Mm,
And that's why, when I give talks on mindfulness and that, I always say that, in the beginning of every presentation, you have objectives. We're going to do this, and we're going to achieve this by the end of the lecture. But what I say at the beginning of the lecture, that what I want you to know is that your mental health is priority.
yeah.
Your happiness is priority, and your existence is priority. So those are three key things that, you need to keep in mind, as a health practitioner. It's not only that, you're treating a patient that is sitting there, Because we are dentists, we are the ones that are known to, empower confidence to our patients with this beautiful smile. We give them, the best aesthetics, and you'll hear that some patients will come back to you and say, doctor, my self-esteem is so nice and high now, or my confidence levels have come up since I removed this dark spot on my tooth. So we're there to give them confidence, but yet we forget about, what, our health
Yeah. Do
also
you think
matters.
this is beyond dentistry as well? I think in even a lot of professions, a lot of workplaces, productivity for the bosses upstairs or whatever, whatever the system is, seems to come before the health and well-being of whoever's working. And you could see that almost as a prime example during the pandemic. In certain countries, they were refusing to lock down because people needed to go to work for the economy. Now, this is, obviously that you can see instantly this is it's not a people's health and well-being first mindset, and it's almost
Mhm.
across many of Western cultures that we've seen this. I don't know if that's something that you recognize as well.
Most definitely. I mean, one of my mindfulness teachers, he is currently in the USA, and over the last couple of years, he's been to some of the top corporates in the USA. With the likes of maybe Google, Boeing, LinkedIn, and you name it. BBC. He's named many. He's given these courses at many of these top corporates in the USA and
Yeah.
around the world. In actual fact, and you see, he's mentioned that um, there is such a need for a perfect state of mind in these places, that at the end of the day, your boss on the top only wants to see
Yeah.
the figures. I think that happens in almost every institution, that the top dog just wants to see the figures. He wants to see how's the production, and that's where and by not achieving that, I think it's a direct link that, what, your production is affected. And once you're in a good state of mind, you're in a happy space, you're in a positive space, that has an impact on the production, and then production has an impact on, the outcome or the
Mm,
finances of a company. So definitely, and I think even more so during the lockdown, um, with COVID-19, people had to work from home. Um, it was taking a toll on them, trying to manage work, trying to manage the family, trying to manage the household during this pandemic. And I think that, what, I think a lot of companies, I think, are slowly trying to see that, what, the effects of employer well-being, is
yeah.
key. I think people are starting to slowly realize that. I feel that in a lot of sectors that they're not, but I think in your big corporates, I think people are starting to see the importance of uh, of of well-being, staff happiness. Just, I mean, sometimes just talking politely to a staff makes such a big
Yeah.
difference. Can change their mindset
Do you think it's
already.
crazy that
Yeah.
in healthcare it seems to be so low down on the agenda in hospitals, for example? I don't know if it's the same in South Africa, but I know for sure in the States they have some crazy, for residents who are going through residency, they have some
Mm.
crazy long
Yes.
hours. And
Yeah.
there's this crazy statistic about, if you drive home after 16-hour shift, you're 400 times more likely to crash. So there's guys working in the ER who are more
Definitely.
likely to come back in as a patient after their shift because they've been working so long. Um, and the reason that happened was there's a guy working in Johns Hopkins. Um,
Yes.
see, what was his name? William Halsted or something like that. And he was,
Mhm.
I think he's an anesthesiologist, and
Yeah.
he ended up unwittingly being on cocaine because it's one of the adjacent drugs. They
Yeah.
were messing around with drugs to get people out of pain, but he was essentially
Right.
on cocaine. So he was able to do 16, 18, 24 hours because he was on these drugs. And all these poor residents, he set it basically because, okay, well, if I can do it, they should be able
Yeah,
to do it as well. Unknowingly, he was
yeah,
on the after effects of these things that he's been taking, and because he was messing around and trying to work out the best anesthesiology drugs.
right,
So he was a drug
yeah,
addict, and people on cocaine can go for hours and hours and hours, and they're wired. But as a result,
yeah.
residents have to do these hours, and it's still not changed, even though they realize what happened.
And definitely, you know what, I see it firsthand also. You know what, my brother is a resident in orthopedic
Mm.
surgery, and sometimes the calls that he has to go through, 36 hours without, taking a break, without, sometimes just in between a patient taking a bite, and standing for 14, 15 hours in the OT, really takes a toll on them. And you know what, and uh, we know people, you've mentioned that, um, after leaving the hospital after your shift, you're prone to, having a road
Yeah.
accident. And this happens. We've seen that. I've even had a family member, who experienced that. He was working a 36-hour shift, and, on his way home, he had a bumper bash because, he was
Mm.
falling asleep. He was just too tired. So this, it's exactly what you say. And, that's the sad part about it, that yet again, I say that, as health professionals, we empower, no smoking because, tobacco is bad, nicotine is bad, say no to alcohol because, all the negative aspects of alcohol. But yet then medical professionals, have to resort to that because of these circumstances. And even, I'd even say, look, it even really happens in a dental profession, because dentistry is a very stressful
Physical as well.
profession. You know, physical draining, and also mentally draining, that you often find that these practitioners have to resort to, using drugs, or, they get into that habit where, after a long day of work, let me go home, let me have a glass or two of wine, let me open some beers. And you know what, that becomes a habit. And at the end of the day, that is, causing more detrimental effects on your body, more detrimental effects on your health and on your mental state. And and you know what, that by maybe they might find, a bit of relief, a little bit of soothing, after they have, the alcohol, or,
Or whatever it
they
is. Yeah,
smoke, or
that
whatever it is. But then you know what, that is not a natural state of well-being. That's more what I call a term numbing. You're just numbing that, that draining state of mind, by alcohol. I'm not saying that, I'm not here saying that don't drink or whatever, but I'm saying this is what happens, with a lot of the dentists. And even being part of the South African Dental Association, we have something called a benevolent fund. That is whereby, certain dentists that have been affected by disease or mental health, and they need some assistance. So we go out and we offer our help, see how we can help them or their family. And it is a very sad sight to see that, what mental disorders have
yeah.
caused, to a dentist who has been perfectly practicing for good 35 odd years. And then for them to be in a state where, they can't practice anymore. So it is a very sad sight to see dentists, suffering from mental health. But you know what? The thing is that there is help out there. I think sometimes we are very shy to express ourselves, and that's something very important. That's what part of social well-being is. You know what? It's part of expressing yourself. I need to seek help. I need to speak to a family member. I need to go and speak to somebody, maybe another colleague, a health professional who can help me, and who can listen to me, or who can direct me. But I think often we have that fear that,
Or some
what, I'll be judged
stigmatization. Yeah.
if stigmatization. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's an impossible situation for some people, I think. I think maybe girls are a little better off in terms of their support structures. They tend to have a much easier time about opening up with these sorts of things as well. Um, I think for a lot of guys, it becomes to the very last straw. Either they open up or they snap. It's in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely, I agree totally with you. Even I think some of the stats would express that. That you know what, I think there's a higher suicide rate, eventually amongst males than females. I think also exactly what you say that I think females have that the tendency to
Mm.
express better than males. I think males have that that perception that we need to be the strong type of personality that what nothing can affect us and I think that's where we should change the thinking that what real men do
I
cry
think you have
as
to have
well.
like a
You
good
know,
balance. I think it's
yeah,
also true to say if people do see you like that as a guy, they do tend to think less of you. Unfortunate as it is. So maybe if you have
yeah,
a safe space or a safe zone, or you have you have somebody or someone there that's okay. Well, this is going to be kept quiet. That this person was in a dark space or a dark place. We dealt with it in a small group, and it didn't get out that you had a bad time because we know how things are. People do judge, and I think that's there. That stigmatization is there, and and we're almost right about it in a way. It's not that it should be a real thing, but I think it probably does happen. Um, in defense of those people who don't speak up, maybe. So you need to find some way
yeah, yeah.
to
No,
get
definitely,
around it.
absolutely. And that's when what you need to a lot of times in the profession. What we so focused on our work that we forget that we about that balance that you mentioned earlier on, that we need to have a balance between our family, we need to have balance between our work, and we need to incorporate these things. Often in mindfulness, what we talk about is having things that give you inner joy, that give you
Mm,
that inner bliss. Like for example, hobbies. You need to incorporate hobbies into your life. You need to spend some time in nature. Say nature is
yeah.
naturally healing to you. You just feel happy when you're out in nature. When you go on a hike, you feel good, you feel
Even weirdly when it's
rejuvenated.
raining.
So
Even
you
when it's
need to
raining.
make
It's very weird. You like when it's raining and you
absolutely,
sit
yeah,
here outside
yeah.
and you look outside and go, "Oh God, it looks horrible."
Mhm,
But say you're stuck in town
mhm.
or wherever and you have to go from here to one place just because you have to. Once you walk in, it doesn't really bother you unless you're in somewhere like Chicago where I
Yeah.
was last year and the cold was ripping your face off. When it's that cold, okay, then there's a difference. But just if it's a little bit rainy, it's even then it feels good.
Yeah, no, it feels good, definitely. So yeah, it's very important to incorporate these things like, like hobbies. I know there's some dentists that enjoy
Mm,
painting, they have a canvas and in their free time they do some painting. Some people do some craft. Personally, I enjoy doing craft, so even I go and I do that, and I always try and learn more about craft, and I want to learn so much more craft. I want to learn how to sew, I want to learn how to weld, and a lot more hobbies like that. So it's very important, and that's why I always say it's very important to press the
yeah,
reset button. You need to know when to do it, and you should do it. Now you have to practice pressing the reset button to separate that work is work, and I need to now
yeah,
reset myself. Now that's when you reset yourself. That's when I say in the beginning, when I said your happiness is priority. I know that some people feel that yes, financial, with attaining a lot of finances through my work, that will make me happy. Yes, but you know what, it's not guaranteed. That is not a true happiness. Now going in feeling that bliss, that moment of bliss, spending some quality time with your family, going on a picnic, and you get that joy. That is the real joy, and that is what recharges your mind. That is what recharges
yeah.
your mental state. And yeah, and that is very key. That why we need to practice this. And then also I mentioned meditation. Now, meditation and relaxation exercises has the similar effect, because by doing that, you're taking your body into a state of complete relaxation, of complete rest. And now if we look a bit like, physiologically at how this works when your body is at a state of complete rest. So we know that in our body system, we have the sympathetic nervous system and the
Yeah.
parasympathetic nervous system. And you know that parasympathetic nervous system controls the body's function at rest. When you are calm, your body's at rest, parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. And when you are in a state of stress, you have a sympathetic nervous system that kicks in, and all the factors that the body triggers many aspects. Your heartbeat increases, you feel a little bit sweaty, you on that constant fight and flight mode when you are stressed. Now, what tends to happen in a long state of stress? That sympathetic nervous system is constantly stuck, and that's when we're going to start getting all these other comorbidities, these other conditions, high blood pressure. It's going to affect our nervous system, our mental thinking, because we're on
Yeah.
edge all the time, and that's the physiology. So when we practice relaxation through mindfulness, we are bringing our body back to that state of parasympathetic nervous system. So that's why it's very important that at the end of the day, or even at the start of the day, sometimes even morning and evening before you go to bed, is to practice relaxation to your body, so that you can get into that relaxed state of mind, and that's when your body is able to focus. And look, Rome wasn't built in a day. So it's not like, I'm going to do it for 2 days and then this
Bang,
should
you've
help
sorted.
me.
Yeah, that'd be
No, it
nice.
has to be, it would be nice. But yeah, it doesn't work that way. It is a practice, it is a realization,
Yeah,
and
and it
it's not
might
a
take some people
state,
longer. For someone who's already in a good state
Absolutely.
of mind, it's easy. Okay, you're gonna do some yoga
Yeah.
before you go to bed, just to wind down. And, someone's already in a good point.
Mhm.
It's easy, because you're already not in a bad situation. If you are really in a tough spot, you're not gonna want to feel like it. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
that much harder to even start.
Absolutely. And yeah, for some people, it takes time. And you know what? Many people say, I can't meditate because there's too much
Mm,
thoughts running in my mind. And I always say, that's okay.
that's
It
the whole
comes with
point.
practice. Those thoughts will, that's the whole point. Your thoughts and everything will find its place. It will settle over a period of time. It
Yeah.
takes practice. Like, I want to just go back to the history of where mindfulness in the medical profession started. So this was basically in 1976. There was the professor, I think he was a physician. His name was Dr. Kabat-Zinn in the USA. He was in University of Massachusetts. And he found that there was a lot of stress amongst patients and a lot of stress amongst medical students. And also, he found that many patients weren't responding well to their conventional medication. So this is when he introduced a practice called MBSR. So it's called mindfulness-based um,
Yeah.
mindfulness-based meditation. All right. So he incorporated this practice into to his patients, and also at the later stage he introduced it to his students. I just remember it's called mindfulness-based reduction. So that's the term MBSR. So this incorporated relaxing the body. It incorporated self-acceptance, self-awareness, and
Mm,
factors like that, bringing the body to a very, very relaxed state of mind, thinking at a very focused level. And he saw very good results. So this was the first time where officially mindfulness was put into an academic setting. And since then, there's been so much research done with meditation, with yoga practices and relaxation in the health fraternity. There's even been research that was conducted in psychiatric areas, psychiatric wards, where these patients were introduced to mindfulness-based reduction exercises, and they were very positive
Yeah.
outcomes. Then furthermore, I came across this article that was published in a university in Canada, Dalhousie University in Canada, where it was conducted through the maxillofacial department, where this practitioner incorporated mindfulness practices to the students, and incorporated. So the title of that research was Mindfulness and Professionalism in Dentistry, and this was incorporated into an undergrad curriculum. And they found very positive results towards patients, and also very positive
Yeah.
results with the students. So he also incorporated aspects like self-awareness, self introspection. So that focus on I know who I am, I have a purpose in life, I have direction, and focusing on that's one aspect. Then he also told them, focus on the aspect of acceptance, that I need to accept who I am, that I'm not somebody else, I shouldn't try and be somebody else, I'm my own individual, and I have a purpose that I need to serve. So self-acceptance was another aspect. And then the aspect of wisdom, that incorporating all of this and educating your patients, educating yourself, learning more about dentistry in a more relaxed way, that made all the difference. So he found that these students, once they underwent these exercises, they were able to focus better
Mm.
in their exams, focus better at curricula, focus better in lectures. We often attend lectures, and you know what, through one ear and out the other ear, and we have so much on our mind when we are studying as students that, you know what, it's difficult for us to concentrate in lectures. So he found that, we were able to focus better in lectures. And also, these students were able to treat their patients better. They were able to express to their patients, their condition. They were able to treat them better, and that yielded a
Yeah, because
positive
you
outcome
can
for these patients.
it sounds silly, but you can concentrate on what's actually going on. If you're more in tune in the second, in the moment, and then you have a chance to actually make the effects or give the right advice in the right way. uh if you're, again, we're going to go back to that mindless, if you're mindlessly doing it, you're not going to connect with the patient, you're not going to get the good result. um I think there's more to it than just mindfulness, though, going back onto a whole a step up the ladder
Yeah.
onto the bigger scope of maybe just mental health. um Things like exercise, nutrition, and stress
Mhm.
relief. You were talking a little bit about stress relief there. I think things like sauna are huge for
Yeah.
stress relief. I think it's activating, is it limbic system or something? By using
Yeah.
I think there's a
Absolutely.
study where they did um, regular sauna use and extended the lifespan of particular um, group. I think it was in Sweden, and then they did like 30 minutes or
Okay.
20 minutes in the sauna every day, and these guys had less um heart problems, cardiovascular problems, all sorts of different things than the rest of the population. And this was the only real thing that they were testing for, plus and minus sauna use. So that's something as well.
Yeah. No,
Exercise,
absolutely.
we know that has a huge effect on mental health, because you've had a bad day and you can go,
Yeah.
I don't know, to a punching bag or to the gym and lift some weights and do some running or
Mhm.
swim or something. It makes a difference into how you're feeling afterwards. You have
Yeah.
the rush. So those are things as well which feed into it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. Because look, I mindfulness is one aspect, but I think it encompasses
Mm,
all of these things. When I say resetting, pressing the reset button, and I think these are the different areas, that are for different people. The reset button is different for different people. So absolutely, where you say that exercise is very important. um, and as you say, also it affects the limbic system. That it triggers the limbic system. And what do we know about the limbic system? That is part of our brain, that is the
yeah.
satisfaction center. So once that it affects the limbic system, or triggers the limbic system, we are in that calm state. It triggers that happiness. And when you are happy, you're calm, you're in a good state of mind, you're in a positive or positive environment. So yeah, no, exercise and all of going to a gym routine does really
Yeah, because I
play a
mean, let's
role.
just pretend you're in a rut and you're in a job that you can't really get out of, and there are probably situations where you have that situation. You have to do something. You have to get you have to pay the mortgage. Let's pretend, and you can't leave this job because there's nothing else
Mhm.
that's better that's come up. You could, for example, start going to the gym, and at least in the gym, you could say
Mhm.
1 week you start at 5 kilograms, and now you can do 10 kilograms,
Mhm.
and then you can see something moving forward at least to give you that good feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Mhm.
But like we say, there's so many different
Mhm.
aspects to this. I mean, diet is huge. You talked about
Mhm.
performance in exams. I'm sure there was a study about
Yeah.
maybe primary school kids, younger kids, people who had enough sleep and had enough food performing just so much better. And I think
Yeah.
that's a student problem. University student problem is sleep.
Definitely.
University students don't sleep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sleep. They don't sleep. Yeah. And also always on the
Mm,
junk food. Um, having a balanced diet is really important. And also they say, what? Yes, you have serotonin secreted in the brain, but your other serotonin is the gut. You have a happy gut, you have a happy mind. So that also plays a very, very important role. Because when even as a working person, a working individual, if you are constantly on the go, you don't tend to sit down and have a good meal or a healthy thing. You're just snacking on unhealthy foods, getting fast foods, getting takeouts. You're so tired, you get home, you just want to do something quick and
mm,
easy. So that does affect your body and the health of
yeah,
your body. And together with the lack of a balanced diet, the lack of exercise, that's when we're going to get all these conditions. Obesity, you're going to get high blood pressure, you're going to get these all these other associated
yeah. You need
conditions.
to give yourself the best chance.
and
Give
and
yourself the best
also
chance of. Yeah.
you have to. Yeah. And often, you touched on sleep. Sleep is an extremely important element, a
Mm,
part of our life. Sleep makes such a big difference if you have a good night's sleep. And I'm sure there's so much research that's done on sleep, and how scientific sleep is, that if we don't get enough sleep over a long period of time, that affects our mood, makes us crabby, affects our appetite, it affects how we react, how we speak to people, how we speak to our family members. It affects our mood. So that's why sleep is also a very important part of your general well-being.
yeah. No, I completely agree, and I think there's um a real issue. Again, we're coming back to this thing, and I think a lot of the times when we talk about mental health and all these things, we come back to the modern world just doesn't like you to have health in these areas because, for example, we talked about the open tabs. If there's always TV on or
Mhm.
mobile phone in
Yeah.
your hand stimulating you, you don't get time because it
Yeah.
draws you in and you have to check your notifications, and oh, so and so's texted, you need to text them back. Or, oh, look at this that's now on TV, I need to
Yeah.
watch that. I wonder if there's something new in Netflix. And all these things go on, and you don't resolve those feelings. And
Mhm.
again, with sleep, for example, after a podcast, when I've had the bright lights on, I need longer because
Mhm.
it's a bright light in your
Yeah.
face. And one of my friends who
It's
does
bright
football
light.
podcasting, similar sort of
Mhm.
thing. He goes, if I've done 3, 4, 5 hours in front of the studio lights, you can't sleep straight away. So he watches the game again at home
Yeah.
because under the dimmed lights this time, because he knows he can't sleep because
So
it's stimulated so much.
and sleep.
So it's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, part of the bright lights, you know what? Is also, we shouldn't forget about, nowadays in modern day, we tend to use our screens
Tell
a
me
lot,
about it.
um, yeah. We constantly, on that smartphone or tablet or, the laptop. And, for some people, it's become a habit. We just need to have our phone in our hand and look at our phone, even if it's not ringing, there's no messages. But you know what? Just, we're trying to scroll through it, Instagram. Okay. A few minutes later, okay, let me just check this thing, that thing. It becomes a
You know who you're
habit.
talking to right
So
here.
we have to give ourselves. Maybe you can take a pearl from this
I'm
from this
stuck, man.
podcast. Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it's difficult for some people when it's, when it involves their
Mm,
profession. I get you, but I think they say a very important time, uh, to be screen free is
yeah,
just
20
before
minutes, half
bed.
an hour, something.
At least, what
2
I heard is
hours. Oh
two
my god.
hours, but yeah, but at least at least 1 hour before bed, put that phone aside, maybe grab a book if you want to, or just sit and relax, talk to somebody, um, because you know what, it comes to a point where um, it affects our thinking, the pineal gland. The pineal gland is very sensitive. That's where they say the pineal gland, melatonin, sleep controls our sleep cycles and controls our patterns. It's like
Yeah.
our biological clock. And once we have screens in front of us constantly, tricking our pineal gland, thinking that we are constantly exposed to light, and then that gets tricked. It affects the melatonin production and secretion, and we can't sleep. And
Mm,
then we have lack of sleep, and then the routine carries on, and it's going to affect us mentally. So it affects the pineal gland, the light. So that's why we need to then again trick our pineal gland that, what, I've left my phone there, it is nighttime, and um, I need to sleep.
or maybe you can just smash the melatonin before you go to bed. Let's have 2 tablets of that. Zinc, magnesium, melatonin. Uh,
Totally.
let's see if that works. That might be my way out. Um, let
Dr.
me
Kazi, how long are you going to be on that for?
life maybe, I
It
don't know.
starts affecting something else in the body.
But I do know that people do use zinc and magnesium, ZMA, in
Yes.
especially guys who are doing gym and stuff like that, and supposedly gives you the deepest sleep ever because you need zinc and magnesium for
Mhm.
your hormone balance as well as vitamin K and a few other
Yeah.
things. So it's good to also
Mhm.
take a look at that side of things because again, modern diet sometimes, if
Mhm.
you're having a lot of processed foods, you're missing out on a lot of
Yeah.
micronutrients. You might be getting the headline stuff,
Mhm.
carbohydrate, proteins, fats, and your
Mhm.
water intake, but all these micros are being missed out.
Yeah.
So sometimes I kind of feel like I need to do a full
And
blood test, find out what's going on,
and and
what
and
am I
even
short on, what am I doing okay with, and then either change my diet or get a supplement in just to optimize things. Um,
and that was also the thing they said, what, during COVID-19 pandemic, during this period, that one of the best things for immunity was,
vitamin D.
the combination of your vitamin D, your magnesium, your zinc, and
Yeah.
vitamin C. They say that combo was, what, this is the best thing that's going to protect your immune system during this pandemic, during the flu season, and that. And I don't know if prices of those things shot up in all the
Well,
pharmacies.
we have a few bottles here. We have some of all of them. Yeah, we were using them. I'm still using those, daily. So um,
Mhm.
certainly vitamin D, and then there's a multivitamin. I probably need
Mhm.
to. Maybe I'll do them individually and see if I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they definitely make a difference. These things, and they're well researched as well. The vitamin D thing is
Yeah,
it's pretty much set in stone.
definitely,
If you were
definitely.
deficient, in the
Yeah.
northern latitudes, especially for people who are a bit more pigmented and melaninated, or whatever the word
Yeah.
is, the browner you are,
Mm.
basically, or the blacker you are,
Yeah.
the more likely we are to be vitamin D deficient, and then the more likely you were to have, if you got COVID, didn't stop you getting COVID, but if you get it,
Mm.
you're more likely to have adverse outcomes at the end if you were vitamin D
Yes, no,
deficient. So it's really important, actually.
definitely. Yeah, it's important to boost your immune system on those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So going back to um, the mindfulness. So often that we see in practices that, you know, since as soon as we enter into our practice, you know, it should become an attitude of how we approach our day. And that's one of the things that mindfulness also focuses on is your attitude. And that is how you need to put yourself in an attitude of gratitude from the morning. So one of the key principles that are always taught with mindfulness is starting your day off with gratitude. And also, it's even better if even during the day or for whatever or whenever you start expressing gratitude
Yeah.
for smaller things in life. So that's why we always say. So what I tell people is, you know what, when you go into your practice, start of the day by saying, you know what, I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful that, you know what, I have this opportunity to come to work and earn a living, uh, um, earn welfare for my family. And also then you start when you approach your staff members. You know what? Speaking politely to them makes a big difference. Acknowledging them makes a big difference. Saying a simple thing like, you know what, thank you, you know, to whoever. Thank you to Mary, thank you to and whoever, you know what, it makes such a big difference to them. And also um, you know, it builds an aura of positivity in your practice. So once the staff members are in a positive state of mind, you know what, your whole practice is positive. That has a result on your patients. Patients are happy to be in a happy
Mm.
practice, you know. So even at the end of the practice day, you know what, say thankful that I've earned this money or whatever this money I've I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful to my patients because without my patients, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to put bread on the table. So we start with those areas of gratitude and politeness. And then also, don't just be restricted to gratitude in your practice. You know what?
Across the whole
Take
of your
gratitude
life, almost. Yeah.
across everything. And you know what? That just makes everything better. Because once you start with gratitude, it's going to remove a false ego that you have. It's going to make you appreciate the things that you have in your life. It's going to make you value the people that are around you, that are with you, that you've never valued before. So even in the morning, I always say, you know what, you wake up, say, I'm thankful for this bed that I have. I'm thankful that, you know what, I could
Yeah.
sleep and wake up this morning. You know, say thankful for this food that's on the table. And if you have family, you always be thankful to your family, to your parents, you know, whether they were good to you, whether they were mean to you, whether you hate them, whether they're not with you, um, you have to express gratitude to them. Because you know it's a very funny theory because they say your parents live within you. You know, you have genes from both
Mm.
of them. So 50% mother, 50% father. So you are a result of your parents. So if you reject them, you reject yourself, you know? So that was just something small that I was taught, you know? So they say you have to be grateful for your parents, for your
I think
guardians.
gratitude's actually got pretty, in terms of mental health and depression, I think there's studies that show,
Yeah,
literally studies that show, if you practice it, then you maybe not completely get rid of it, but it's definitely, puts you on the right path. And I think a lot of these things are,
absolutely.
again, um, modern world related. because you're seeing, oh, so and
Mhm.
so's got more than me and this and that, and then you're down on
Yes.
yourself, whereas you just ignoring all the things that you actually have going for you. And I think again, like you said before, it's really important to clock that things are going well for you, even if they're going better for someone else.
Yeah. No, definitely. Because you see, at the end of the day, these things, it all then pours down to human
Mm,
elements. The human characteristics within me need to come out. And these are the things like, gratitude. Then the next point I wanted to bring out is acceptance. Even I mentioned that it was mentioned in the study. So acceptance is when, you know what, you say, I accept myself the way I am. I might, you know what, when we start comparing, people that you just mentioned now, like, you know what, I want to be like that guy, or he has this car, or you know what, he has this type of practice, I want to be like that. But you know what, that's you're going to shoot yourself in the foot by thinking that, because at the end of the day it's going to affect
yeah,
you. you know it's it's you drinking the poison but expecting somebody else to die. you know so that self acceptance is where I say to myself, I accept myself the way I am, I accept my surroundings the way I am, and I accept my family members the way they are. Because look, I mean, in every family, we not everybody is like, has the same personality. We get some cheeky people, we get some sweet people, we get, so accepting. And change can only come once I've accepted myself the way I am, the way I've accepted my environment. That's the only time then we can bring change, once that takes
yeah,
place. And for me, I feel that personally, I feel that's what it's as easy as it sounds. It's very difficult. Um, it's a very difficult principle to follow. It takes a lot of practice to follow that principle. Because, for example, if somebody has done something bad to you,
and
you
hold a
know,
grudge.
you keep you have that grudge for years, or some people even take these grudges to
Yeah,
the grave. So that's why self-acceptance is very important, that only once I accept myself, I accept who you are, so and so, I accept how the way you are, I accept your behavior. That's the only time I can bring change in my life.
yeah.
you know yeah. And then the other factor, the third point I wanted to bring in mindfulness is um, unconditional love, because that also forms part of acceptance. But unconditional
Is it
love
of
for
yourself
everything
or
that it is
okay?
for yourself and for everything around me, everybody around me. So unconditional love, that's why I put the term unconditional, and it's not just love. Because once we have conditions to it, then it's I love you for certain things, and then there's expectations associated with that love. So unconditional love, for whatever reason, you know what? I will love myself, even whatever has happened to me, whatever has happened in my past.
Yeah.
I accept myself, and I will love myself
I think you
for
get some
whatever. I
people
take everything
disagreeing
that's
there with like, I don't know, spouses who've cheated and stuff like that. You go, there's conditions. There's conditions, bro. But yeah,
uh,
the main point is more towards yourself, isn't it? And how you
yourself.
interact with people around you, as opposed to
Yeah,
someone who's
no,
literally,
definitely.
you know, on that
Yeah,
side.
look,
That's a whole other topic.
it is another topic. Look, I said, charity begins at home. So everything has to start from this
Mm,
body, from this mind, and then we take it to our environment. You have to love yourself before you can love, other things
yeah,
around you. Yeah. And then that's part of the mindful journey, is that once we start adopting these human elements, and we forget about that, we think that these elements don't have a place in dentistry or the medical profession. But that's where we're wrong. Once we start uh, implementing these small things that we know about it, everybody knows what I've mentioned now, everybody knows about it, everybody knows it exists. But you know what, we don't practice it. Once we start practicing these small things, what we start getting used to these small things, that's when it starts making the big
yeah,
difference.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, dentistry is our job. what do we want to achieve from our job is that we want to see our patients happy, you know. They must be happy and we must also be happy. I know sometimes it can be a selfish thing to say that, "Ah, if I don't worry about my patients, but I must be happy." No, you know, but it can be selfish. But if you are happy, then also you create a happy environment, you create happy practice, you create happy patients, you know, and it's just it goes upward
I
from
don't think
there.
it's wrong to say that actually. Do you know, to be selfish in the clinic or whatever? But, well, we're gonna caveat this actually. I'm gonna say, assuming dental school has selected for the right kind of people, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's bad if people are being dentists are being a bit more selfish in the clinic. For example, if your good feeling comes out of doing the best for your patients and you're doing the utmost and doing the right thing, then
Mm-hmm.
there's no issue. It's only if the wrong kind of
Yeah.
person has been selected for in the dental school interview, then we maybe have someone with a second, another primary motive. I think your secondary motive,
Mm.
or one of your motives can be, remuneration and getting paid, because at the end of the day, it's a job. And I think this is what we
Yeah.
get wrong
No,
as well.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with you. We I'm coming in is that, you know, um, don't be selfish towards thinking that, you know what, your health is also
Yeah.
priority. You know, that's where I'm coming about. That, okay, you know, you've treated your patient, you've made them happy, but at the end of the day, you mustn't feel that, okay, you know what, I'm overworked, it's burnout, and that you need to give yourself that time
Yeah,
as
that's
well,
that's
that
what I
help.
mean. Like, you
Okay.
have a lot of people who
Yeah.
will murder
Mhm.
themselves for the job.
Yeah.
And you see, especially
Mm-hmm.
in doctors, they have the hero complex. Not
Mm-hmm.
everyone, of course, will not generalize completely, but let's just say the 99%. I don't know. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Some of them have this. It's there, Oh, we save lives, and yeah, they're just
Mhm.
14-hour shift, and oh, it's nights, and they give all these like pompousy kind of statements, and it's fair enough. Doing a very important job,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
maybe we should just train 50% more dentists, 50% more doctors, and just cut the
Mhm.
workload for everyone, and
Mhm.
go to a 4-day week as well. No one works more than 4 days in a row. No, really, I'm not even joking, because
Yeah.
there's, again, places that have gone to a 4-day week. Productivity
Yeah.
increases, happiness increases. You
Mhm.
have a better society, you have better
Yeah.
lives, and you don't
Mhm.
want to be spending most of your life at work, because what's the point in all these other
Definitely.
things in life? Family and children, and all these other hobbies and habits you want to have. You shouldn't have to wait till you've retired to live your life. And I think this is really important,
Absolutely.
and trying
Yeah.
not to get sucked into that. And we're lucky in dentistry to have such a flexible
Yeah.
career, where you can say, actually, if I just work 3 days a week, nobody's harmed, and there's no issue. And you probably be able to get away with working 3 days a week, and have enough to live on, depending on your lifestyle. Some guys out there are a bit crazy. Um, it's
Yes,
different.
that's exactly that's exactly what I wanted to
Yeah.
speak about now, as you mentioned that look, I think what tends to happen is that then we are motivated by the financial side of it, you know, as we start earning more, you know, our lifestyle starts increasing, and then we have to keep up with that,
Mm,
you know. And the minute we lose our job, or you know, things go downhill or go sour, then you know what, it's the stress of maintaining that you know, that lifestyle. You know, if I had this certain car, I was driving a BMW or Mercedes, and you know what, for some reason I lost that, or I need to replace that car, you know what, people want to keep that same level. They don't think, okay, you know what, I'll get something, you know, less expensive that still takes me from
yeah.
A to B. It's that stress. But then also the thought is, are they doing it for themselves, or are they doing it for the world to see? You know, that's also, you know, that's also something debatable, because a lot of times people, they do things, you know, they do fancy things, it's for the show, you know, it's because I need to keep up with the Jones, you
Mm.
know, keep up with that level of lifestyle.
Here's a
Yeah.
question
So
with dental
yeah.
treatment, and we're going off topic now, because I think we've kind of covered all
Yeah.
of the stuff we needed to, right? with
Yeah, most.
with dental treatment and social media.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
miles in favor of it because if you're
Mhm.
gonna post your treatment, you're gonna get slated if
Mhm.
it's bad, and that can only make things better.
Yes.
Because if you're someone who wants to get adulation and appreciation from colleagues, you need to be
Mhm.
amazing. You need to be really good.
Uh,
Otherwise, it's gonna be like someone
Yeah.
will have a look and go, margins off. I can see some caries left. I can see, oh, this implant was poorly placed. Oh, there was poor bone density, or something. People will clock it because everyone's knowledgeable.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
there was it's interesting, and I think that's been one of the real growth factors for top level treatment across the world, especially in
Mhm.
maybe third world countries, or places which weren't getting the initial amazing quality of dental school. I think you can, now that it's so global, you
Mhm.
can pick up tips from really high quality clinicians everywhere.
Yeah, and look, I think that promoting dentistry on Instagram and on social media, it's become such a um, an important aspect of certain people's lives, that people are learning of these platforms, and they also find inspiration through these platforms, inspiration to do good, inspiration to start their own pages, inspiration to take things back into their clinic. And yes, I think there is a lot of expectation, and people, are very judgy in these areas. And by all means, if it's on social media, we have the right to
Yeah.
judge.
I have a
Yeah.
rule though.
So,
It's like if I have something to say about someone's, well, I never say anything about anyone's treatment actually because I haven't got the time.
mhm.
But the rule should be something like if you see something wrong, don't post it as a comment. Just direct message the guy.
Yes,
Go,
yes, I
bro.
agree.
Did you realize? I don't know if you saw this. I was
Mhm.
worried about. Did you know XYZ can happen if you do something like this? Just check for next time. But instead, there'll be some guy go,
Yeah,
I've got him.
yeah,
I've got him. Right, let's
yes.
get the keyboard out. He puts
I
he
I,
puts
I
his
agree.
warrior helmet on, and all of that. And
Yeah, no, I agree 200% with you. What I mean by judging, we judge in our own space towards for ourselves. It's not that we must post something, because even if I can tell you that some weeks ago I posted a pic of me in theater
yeah,
on Facebook, and somebody commented a nasty comment on that, saying that, are you allowed to post this thing? And they could have just you could have just sent me a personal message saying that, okay, if they felt like it was a sensitive picture or something of someone being in theater, they could have just sent me a message saying that, what, I'd appreciate if you don't post this.
what's it got to
But
do with
yeah,
them?
I agree. Exactly. Are they trying to show off to the world that
They're
they
even
are
more
more
by
clever
the
than
rules
somebody
than
else?
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So um yeah, when it comes to judging, I think, yeah, don't put the negativity out. I think we should always empower people if they are trying to do good work, trying to create a name for themselves. Help them, empower them. If there
yeah.
is a constructive criticism that needs to be said to them, then yeah, I agree totally with you that, what, send them a personal
That's what the
message.
block
Yeah.
button's for. There's two or three people that
Mm,
I knew personally before I started posting on Instagram and stuff that tried this on, and they're
mm,
not people like my good friends. They're people I know. Just you know them. Someone from
yeah.
uni, you know them. You don't hang out with
Yeah.
them. And the comments
Mhm.
were completely the thing that they were trying to say was completely wrong. And I was like, okay, where's the block button at? Here we go. See you later, mate.
Yeah.
But it's the thing again, mental health. I don't need to see negativity from people who don't know what's going on. Um, there
Yeah.
was there was a case I remember it because it was an onlay I'd prepped, and I dammed up and I took
Mhm.
it was a it wasn't even a GIC. It was less it was more temporary than a GIC. It
Oh,
was
okay.
incredibly temporary, and I took it out. And once I've taken it out, I realized that the last person, and it happens, has done some adjacent tooth contact, and you can see a little bit of contact being made. But I'm just removing this very soft temporary, so I found it. I'm taking photos of every step, and because I post some of the cases,
Mm.
and then this someone's come in and gone, "Oh, you're crap, and you've hit the tooth, and this and that." Well, if I'd hit the tooth, I'm gonna say it because I say, or I'm not gonna
Yeah.
post it. If I've
Mm.
hit the tooth, I'm not gonna post it, am I? Let's be
Exactly.
honest.
Mm.
So I knew that
Mm.
it wasn't me because I'd done this whole thing under dam, and then I've taken the dam off to do the impression and taken another photo, and you can see it. So it's one of those, and I was like, well, I didn't particularly like you when I was in uni anyway. You're getting blocked.
Yeah.
So that's how I went down.
Yeah.
And something similar happened with another post, and again, if someone just goes, "Oh, bro, by the way, did
Mm.
did you nick that tooth? You might have to sort that out," and
Yeah.
just message me and go,
Ask.
"Okay, yeah, oh crap, I didn't notice that." But no, they wanted
Yeah.
to be the big man.
There's Yeah. No,
Yeah.
there's a manner in how you put things towards other people. Look, even I say in a dental environment when we are busy talking to our staff
Mm.
members, I've come across dentists that are, extremely rude to their staff members, their dental assistant, where they say, "Okay, get me this, do this for me," and that's not a nice way of communicating with people, be it on social media or be it in person. And patients notice
Yeah,
this,
this is why I said,
and
assuming dental schools have selected for the right people, because sometimes
mhm,
it's
yeah,
questionable, when you've been on the receiving end or you've seen how certain people are
yeah.
treated. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, no, definitely. And also with the social media, I feel there's some people that are just sour people, that they are there just to find faults. They are there just to see the negative in people, and that's those people. They should start changing their mentality. I pray for them that maybe let them start seeing the
Yeah.
positive in
Yeah.
others. You know,
Sometimes
if
sometimes I think to myself, you know what, shall I really obviously Photoshop something just to make these people boil up? and then and then 24 hours later I'm like, yeah, this was photoshopped.
yeah,
It's,
because you know
well,
what.
why are you bothered what someone else is doing? Why are you
Yeah,
bothered?
because often when these people that are very sour about things, it starts from a personal
Mm,
factor. Maybe they are either very jealous about it, they can't do such treatment, or they're not a space to do certain treatment like you, or they can't share positivity, or they've got domestic issues, and that that goes down to them expressing negativity only.
mm,
you know if you're a happy person, if you're a positive person, you want that for people around you, so you will share that
yeah.
positivity.
That's what
Yeah,
I found with the Instagram, for example. Um the
yeah.
people that I interact with, I've got really close friends that I've never met in person, but we call each other and stuff because
Mm,
he's interested in the same things I'm interested in, and we talk and like, oh yeah, try this out, bro. You seen this, seen that, and
yeah.
they're positive people, and you want to be around positivity.
You want
Yeah,
to be,
and
yeah,
if
absolutely.
you're around, if people are negative, you're pushing people away.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Your
definitely.
energy.
And you know what, I also run a lot of CPD events, where we discuss a topic or
Mm.
something. And at these events, it is so easy to see personalities, especially also when we have a Q&A session at the end. You get people, they say, "Oh, why are you doing this? Why is this treatment like this?" But you know what? The intention of asking the question is a negative one. It's not coming. You can question something, but I would say it's the intention. Make sure that it comes out of positive
Yeah, wanting to
intention
learn as
and
opposed to wanting to trip someone
willing
up.
to learn.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you can already see, you can pick up personalities from those events, that you get these people that are like sad with themselves, and you get these happy people that are willing to learn. They come there with you know full of enthusiasm, and they're there to interact with other dentists and learn, and engage. So yeah, I think you get all type of
different people. Yeah.
uh different
I always wonder
personalities.
how they have the energy. Like most of my life, my main thought. I haven't got the energy to think about what other people are doing or thinking, unless it's someone who's close to me. And then I'm gonna tell them what I think, and that comes from a good place because I don't want to screw up. But most of my life, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
what's my next meal gonna be? What am I eating next? This is my main
What
thought
are you
process.
thinking?
I don't have the energy or the time to think about tripping other people up and whatever it is.
Yeah.
I haven't got the
Hmm.
mental space for it, and some people do for some reason. I don't get it.
Yeah. I think you need to focus on the
Yeah.
self. Yeah, Dr. Kazi, I don't know if you want, if you can offer me maybe 5 minutes, and maybe we can run through a small relaxation exercise, and maybe people can take this home as
Should we
a
give
as a
some
gift.
instructions? Some
And
instructions out.
yeah, so basically, I will just instruct you. So if you're watching this, and even if you want to view it at the later stage, you can. So what I will want you to do is just to sit very comfortably, and if you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. What I'm going to do is a relaxation exercise, running through the body.
I'll have to
Okay,
keep an
and
eye
let
on
me
the
just,
stream health, but I'll do the rest.
yeah, yeah, okay, not a problem. So basically, I'm going to be addressing all the people that are watching, that are logged on. So I'm going to start now.
Okay, me too.
So I want you to take a few deep breaths, ladies and gentlemen. Just, if you want to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. I think I'm going to close my eyes, but you'll hear me talking. So take a few deep breaths. Inhale from your nose and exhale from your nose as well. We'll do this 3 times. Inhale from your nose and exhale from your nose. Take a nice deep inhalation, a nice deep exhalation. I want you just to try and relax. If there's a lot of thoughts in your mind, let them run through your mind. It's fine. It's fine. Just try and, you know, roll back your shoulders. Just try and relax. And now I want you to take your focus to the top of your head. Now, the top of your head, you can try and visualize your skull and say to your skull, relax. If you want to, you can visualize your brain, the right hemisphere, the left hemisphere, and tell your brain to relax. You can take a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. I want you now to move your focus to your eyes and say to your eyes, relax. Now move to your ears and tell your ears to relax. Focus on your nose, the tip of your nose, and command your nose to relax. You'll start feeling your head and your brain feeling more and more relaxed. You can take a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. You can now focus on your teeth, your gums, your mouth, your chin, and command all of these areas to relax. And it's fine if there's thoughts running through your mind, thoughts about what's going on in the day or what's going to happen tomorrow. But just try and say, relax. I want you to focus on your neck. I want you to focus on your shoulders and command them to relax. You can now focus on the chest area, the lungs, and you can take a deep breath in. I want you to focus on the movement of the lungs. You know, your chest moving out and back in, and command it to relax. Now focus on the abdomen area and just command your body to relax. You can now focus at the hips and the thighs and command your body to relax. You are feeling more and more relaxed. You are feeling more and more calm. You are feeling more and more at ease. Now focus on your thighs and your knees and command your knees to relax. You can now focus on your feet and your toes. You can wiggle your toes a little bit, giving focus to it, and command your toes to relax. Your body is now feeling more and more relaxed. You feel at peace, you are at ease, and you're in a state of bliss. Relax. You feel more and more relaxed. Now I want you to bring one thought to your mind. Bring a thought of gratitude. I want you to say gratitude to this body. I want you to say gratitude for one thing that's in your house that you use every day. Anything. And say gratitude to that. And then I want you to think of a very special person. It can be a family member, it can be your special loved one, it can be a pet, and say gratitude to them. Express that gratitude and feel happy about that gratitude. I now want you to go to one happy thought in your mind. It can be maybe a wonderful holiday that you were with. It can be a special loved one that you spend time with. It can be maybe a patient experience that brought absolute happiness to you. And let that bring a smile to your face. Think of that moment, ponder on it for a little while, and with a beautiful smile on your face, I want you to slowly open your eyes and feel happy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was just a very brief, it was a short relaxation exercise. I mean, if we focus on an exercise like this every day of our life, you know what? It can bring maybe a small change to our life. It can bring a change to the way we treat our patients. It can change our attitude on, on how we approach the day. Dr. Kazi, over to you.
Yeah. No, that was interesting because it's again, it's the way of getting the thoughts out and getting getting yourself into relaxation, isn't it? And
Yeah,
I can't
definitely.
imagine a time that people actually do this in their day-to-day lives currently.
Is that you know you know
Beyond,
what?
yeah,
The first thing that when I wake up in the morning, and I know a lot of other people that do that. The first routine that they wake up in the morning, either you can brush your teeth, and even before you shower or something, a lot of people, they wake up and they do exercise. The best thing is straight after your exercise routine, sit for 10 minutes and do this exercise. That is the best time to fit this exercise in your day-to-day routine. And also, if you have some time just before bed, if you want to make it 5 minutes, you do it for 5 minutes. You do that exercise, and you're in bed and you're sleeping. It will also help you sleep better because then your body's, in
slow it
quite a
down.
relaxed state. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So try and get into a routine of this. I've been doing it for a good few years, and especially I've increased the amount of time that I've been doing it since since I think mid this year or since May. It was a program that was given to me that I'm on, and it's been so beneficial to me. My energy levels during the day, meaning my vital force, I just feel so much
Yeah.
fresher. I feel so much energized during the day. Even during a long tiring day, I'm still standing. I feel good, so yeah, it's an exercise that really helps, that makes a difference. And more so that, what, we are people of science. There's science behind that. Go and read up about that and how it has made a difference in
Yeah, I
scientific
think a lot of
world.
the things we spoke about today, there is some scientific backing to what it is. You know, whether it was
Absolutely.
gratitude, whether it's exercise. Obviously, nutrition is
Mm,
huge. Mindfulness. I think there's stuff out there as well.
mm,
What else we talk about? Sleep,
definitely.
sleep. All these things they have a
Yeah,
scientific
on that.
background. Um, and yeah,
Mm,
I think it's important that people do it. I think outside of maybe very religious people there who are doing something like this already,
mhm,
with prayer and meditation, that kind of thing.
mhm.
I think everyone else is
Yeah.
not really in tune with this unless maybe I don't know, some guys are doing yoga, but it's not very common, or girls are doing yoga, it's not very common.
Yeah. Mm,
Um, and that can be a time,
yeah.
if you're doing stretches and you're doing it very slowly, then there maybe is that feeling that comes out. But
Mm,
yeah, I think there's
yeah.
space for it.
And yeah, and that's an issue with that many people are against this type of practice. That they think that it's associated with a religion, it's associated
I'm
with
not saying it's a bad thing,
a
but I'm just
specific
saying that, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look. I know a lot of. I won't say too much on religion, but I know a lot of spiritual practices or paths practice
Yeah.
meditation. But if I've in our conversation, I mentioned basically the history of mindfulness in a medical setting. But if if we go back thousands of years ago to ancient India, ancient Greece, ancient Tibet, mindfulness and meditation was practiced back
Mm,
then, and not as a religious practice, but these were taught in the ancient universities. There's evidence that there's universities in ancient India and ancient Tibet called Nalanda and Takshila. These were ancient universities, and people came from all over the globe. People came from Greece, people came from Europe, everywhere, to India, to the universities there, to get this type of knowledge of life and these practices which would empower their life and give them direction. So it's not necessarily associated with religion. Many people think that, and that's why they don't practice it. But at the end of the day, it's for your personal growth. It's a way on empowering yourself.
mm.
That's how I see it. It's an exercise of self-care.
Yeah, like just
That's
like
it.
brushing your teeth or something. I think my point was more like those are the guys who
Absolutely.
are already doing
Yeah.
it, like in some
Yeah.
form or
Mm.
whatever. So they kind of it's when
Yes.
people
Yes.
say, "Oh
Yes.
yeah, do yoga or meditation," I go, "Yeah, I can see where that would
Mm.
help because well, I'm
Okay.
already religious and I already know what that feels like in a way. I get okay, this is
Yeah.
something similar, although not with higher power or
Mhm.
anything like that, and I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
okay, you need that quiet time
Hmm.
because if you don't have that quiet time or whatever,
Yeah.
then you're always things are going on in
Mhm.
the mind and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been interesting, man. Really
And
good.
definitely. Yeah. No,
Uh,
definitely. It was
yeah, go.
It was great. It was great chatting to you. It was great being on this platform. And you know what? I wish you all the best with your future endeavors. And I hope to see this page grow from strength to strength, and hope to see you grow from strength to strength and empowering dentistry, empowering this profession. And yeah, all the best
Yeah,
to
thank you.
you.
We are just at 690 subscribers, guys. So if you've watched this and you've enjoyed it and you wanted to see more of the things that we're doing on Hot Pearl Podcast, we're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of 2020, which will be one of the few good things that comes out of it. So
Mhm.
make sure to hit subscribe, like the video, share it, even take a screenshot and put it on your story, and you tag me, I'll share it as well. Check out Vishal's Instagram as well, which you can see his at, which is on screen right now, which has been on screen all the whole way through actually. But yeah, you can see it there as well, guys. Make sure to follow him. Hit the notification bell as well because we're going to be doing quite a few live videos. Generally in the evening times, but if there's a time zone issue, sometimes a bit earlier in the day if we're talking to Australians and stuff. So make sure to stay tuned. We'll be back again. I think I have someone tomorrow, but I need to just double confirm with her because I haven't heard from her since we confirmed it initially. So I need to check that. But yeah, it's been fun, man. Check out Vishal's page.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm very soon I'll be initiating another Instagram page called The
Yeah.
Mindful Dentist. And look, on that page, it's not going to be about, about candles and, scents and yoga and that type of thing, but it's going to be about day to day practical things about how we can make ourselves better, how we can empower our patients by first empowering
Mm,
ourselves, about tips and techniques in dentistry, more of the softer skills that we can have, that we can adopt in our, in ourselves, and how we can make our practice better. So, guys, it will be launched soon. So, yeah, keep your
check check
eyes
out for
out
that
for
one.
that. Yeah, so it will. Yeah, so it will be the Mindful Dentist by Dr. Vishal Bika. So yeah, um, yeah,
That's
stay
your other
tuned for
plug.
that.
Amazing, guys. Thank you for joining us. Like I said before, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to get to that 1,000 mark by the end of 2020. And also check out the Patreon group if you want to chip in and help support the channel. Price from less than a Starbucks a month. So I really appreciate everyone who's done that so far. Guys, we'll be back soon. And again, big thanks to Doc. All right.
Thank you. Thank you
See you
so
later,
much.
guys.
Good night, guys. Bye.